it's backwards.
Oh no, hate when that happens.
Ah,
Well, welcome to The Cup, the Currently Unnamed Podcast, where we put the real and the tea in reality. You can always come to us first to quench your thirst. I'm David Healy, and I don't have a cute intro, but I do have a cute shirt. I actually let Eve the bunny pick out which shirt I would wear today, and she chose a great choice. She chose the bearded beauty of Houston, of Texas. It is Blackberry. This is
Blackberry,
this is my first time wearing this on the podcast. So love
Blackberry
Blackberry.
lady, one by one. Bum, bum.
When I am just drinking some water today, but I do have a cup mug that I'm not drinking out of. I'm the only one with a cup mug, but that's okay. And you can get your cup mug if you want one at lanagcreations.etsy.com. We do ship internationally, so there are no excuses.
And I should know better because I continue to make them and I don't have my cup mug yet. Get my cup mug. But how we all doing, everybody? It is me, one and only Eve the Bunny, Chicago drag maven and queen of Ivy Park. Today I am in the Ivy Park Trail look because it was easy to throw on. And it kind of matches my nails a little bit because I'm in kind of like a coppery, orangey story right now with my nails. So it all kind of goes together. Please excuse my face. I feel that it is extremely dry as of right now. Also, please excuse the fact that I will be eating during this podcast. That's my microwave because I will be eating during this podcast. Because when you take medication, you have to eat afterwards. Because if not, you get sick. We don't want me to get sick, do we?
Mhm.
No. I know this is Dragula, but girl, I'm not trying to sign up for the filth category. This is not that kind of video. That's for the Patreon. And I'm drinking Pepsi that I got from Circle K because it's $1. And yeah.
Well, we'll say that if anybody is grossed out by hearing you eat, this will just be their fright feed for the episode. You have to deal with it, or else you lose, and you might
Yeah.
get cursed. So,
Yeah. Sorry about it.
yep. But thanks for everybody who has tuned in to us. And if you've never watched us before, welcome. You know what you should do? You should subscribe.
Sure.
Yes, subscribe. We just hit 2,000 subscribers, so we want to keep that number going up, up, up. And you can hit the notification bell to get any notifications when we put out videos. We do cover almost all things drag, honestly. Like we're covering, I think, 6 franchises at this moment. There's so many. But
And
yeah,
there's
and
ones being announced as we speak.
exactly. We might be talking about a new one tomorrow. So yeah, and feel free to like this video, share it, leave comments. I love reading comments. We don't get enough on the Dragula videos. So if you're reading this, leave a comment. Say hi. But let's get into this episode because it's an interesting one.
Yeah, I yeah. That's all I have to say. It was like just the whole setup of the entire episode kind of flowed a lot differently than I thought it was going to. And then it had me going back after the episode was over and being like, what was the first half about? Like it was that just me or did that just kind of like fall out of your memory?
No, I see what you're saying. It's kind of like a fever dream. Like it feels like this season, all the conversations that they have, they in the moment they feel inconsequential, but they almost end like almost always end up having some sort of payoff. And I think that's included in this episode too. But yeah, the first episode, the first half was eventful, but maybe not the most memorable.
Yeah, I guess we can say that. Because we start off with the workroom, we start out with everybody, or the cauldron. Not really the cauldron. It's not really the cauldron either. What is it? A workroom? Would it be the workroom?
The cauldron is like their untucked lounge.
Right. So they're
like their workroom.
So their workroom is actually called a workroom. Okay, I didn't
know. The long ass boudoir.
Okay, boudoir. That's what we got. The boudoir. Okay,
it's lab now. It used to be boudoir. Now it's the long ass boudoir. Lab. LAB.
The long ass boudoir. Okay, so they go back to the long ass boudoir, and everybody is all talking about, oh my God, who do we think went home? I don't know. I saw more fight out of Yuri. I can't believe Desiree threw a chicken. It has now been called Chicken Gate. And I'm sitting here the entire time just going, if y'all kept that girl after she possibly gave half the cast salmonella, I'm going to be mad. I'm going to be a little bit upset. A little bit. I know. I'm going to be a little bit upset if y'all kept her. Because I got the critiques that they were giving where, yes, she is giving you like that very early season 1, season 2 filth core style of Dragula. But at the same time, I feel like part of it is because the production levels for season 1 and season 2 were kind of lower. So, you know what I mean? Like, it's one of those things where it's like I couldn't see a girl giving season 1 or season 2 on season 6 and it's still registering at the same level. Do you know what I mean?
Unless they're Vander. Vander could pull it off.
Right.
Because her level was already like way beyond the season.
But for me, it's one of those things where it was like, it just shows like how the competition has elevated every single season to the point where, like, look at Majesty. Majesty was here in season 2, but Majesty is not bringing season 2 level Dragula. You know, drag to Dragula. You know what I mean? Like, I would consider what they're bringing still along the same lines of what everybody else is bringing there with. You know what I mean? Like, I see them on the same level.
Okay.
So yeah, I was kind of like, no. I kind of want to give Yuri a little bit of another chance, and also I felt like that it was a little bit of a setup when they were like, Yuri, you're going to be in extermination, and your extermination is going to be your worst fear. And I'm just like, well, girl, y'all not finna get rid of her because of that. Like, y'all, you know what I mean? She's going to be a walking testimonial of like, I just have to face my fears, and now you know what I mean? Like, it would just be too easy if they got rid of her off of something like that. So like, yeah.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, I agree. Like, I also really thought it was funny, like, since they were talking about Chicken Gate, and we had Auntie talking about how she had to like break up a fight basically between Yuri and Desiree, and how she kept shushing Desiree. And I loved Jaharia's confessional where she's like, well, I appreciate that she's being like the mediator and all that, but let the bitches fight.
Right.
I'm like, right, Jaharia, you know what we're here for. We're here for TV.
She's very much one where she's like, you know what? I realize this is a competition. I also realize this is a show. Let's keep it entertaining for the people at home. Because
that's why she's one of my favorites.
she's become a talking head that I'm very, very happy to have out of this season. And I was nervous about Jaharia because something about her just made me feel like that they weren't possibly going to feature her that much, or that we weren't going to see that much from her. And she's grown on me a lot as a person that I'm like rooting for, like for real.
Same here. I would love to see her in the top 4 at this point.
I would be very surprised to see her in the top 4. Okay, quick question for you before we dive into the episode, because I feel like that I haven't gotten a chance to do a lot of Dragula recaps, and then I don't think I've gotten to do any. Have I gotten to do any with you?
I don't think you have since the premiere.
Okay. So, my question for you is this. As of right now, do you have a top 4?
I do. I 100% have a top 4.
Who is your top 4 as of right now?
Okay, so I have to give it to Asia and Auntie for being so consistent and really bringing it each week. So they would definitely be in there. I personally just really am drawn to Gray's aesthetic, Gray's drag style. So I would have Gray there, and then I would have Jaharia as the fourth one, just because I'm really impressed with the level of drag, and I think she is arguably the best personality in the cast. So that would be my top four. How about you?
Period. Period. Um, so I have to be partial and go with the two people that are in my team. Well, one of them, 100%, but that's Auntie. She's my winner. But I do have to put Majesty up there. Although the way that Majesty's acting right now, I'm just
Mhm.
like, girl, like it's the way that she's acting right now. I very, very much wonder how much of it is for TV and how much of it is actually her. Because if it's not for TV and she is going through this big mental crisis and stuff like that, she might not make it to finals. You know what I mean? But like, if this is for TV, it's good. But I'm just like, I don't. I feel like that I don't know who Majesty's enemy is. You know what I mean? And I feel like that there's a point where like Majesty's doing very well in the challenges. Like no one is knocking Majesty in the challenges. Majesty's never placed below safe, I don't believe. So it's kind of interesting that it's interesting that um, she is going through this random mental catharsis of I don't know who I am. I don't know what I have to give. I don't know. Da, da, da. I'm like, no one's saying you're not. Where is this coming from? You know what I mean? And
It's
I'm
three
just kind of
weeks of
like,
safe in a row, though.
huh?
3 weeks of safe in a row. So maybe she was expecting more. And honestly, it sounds like we kind of disagree on Majesty because I was very excited for her after the first episode. But every episode since, I think there's a case to be made that she could be bottom three each episode. I thought the level of her drag was better in season two.
Ooh. Yeah,
That's
no, I
not
would
that's
agree with
not too
that.
much of a knock because she really brought it in season two. Like she was a front runner for a reason.
I will never get over the fact that that girl stuck a CD into her vagina in season two, and no, I because I put it to you this way. This is what was funny about the situation is I didn't like Majesty on season two that much at all.
Hmm.
I thought Majesty's drag out of season two was on the lower tier
Oh,
compared to all
really?
of the other people. Yes, 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 yes. The amount of times I was mad she won over Victoria, I was like, "You're crazy.
That's fair.
You're crazy." Like even that one that I was talking about, where she's supposed to be the sex bot thing or whatever. She had on a leotard that had a whole bunch of broken computer pieces on it. That's all that was, and still ended up beating Victoria. I was like, no, no, absolutely not. But with this season, I feel like that I liked the level of the concept of I feel like the concepts of her drag have more of a refinement. And I feel like that's possibly something that she had always in season two that we're seeing a little bit more fleshed out now. She always had concepts for the type of look that she was going for. She wasn't just creepy for creepy's sake or
Hmm.
Phil for Phil's sake. It always had like a little storyline behind
Right.
it. And so I like the storylines that we've been seeing now. They look I guess I would put it this way: they look like if she was doing this for like an All Stars. You know what I mean? As opposed to if she was doing it on a regular season.
Hmm.
So maybe she does need to come back for a Titans as opposed to doing a regular season. I don't know, but um, yeah.
Well, speaking of Majesty, we do have Yuri come back in and talk about how, oh, really felt good facing my fears, accomplishing this. And then we hear Majesty kind of piping up, and you think she's going to start talking to Yuri about her experience. But then she's like, yes, I know, because when I did this, blah, 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 blah. And she starts like bringing it back to herself. And this is the second time in the beginning that she's made the conversation about herself, which is a normal thing. Like we're humans. We all like to talk about ourselves to some degree, especially people on TV. But Auntie has had it up to here with it.
It is
We
not happy.
we see
Auntie
some
is
infighting among. Oh, you
happy.
didn't finish off your top four. You said your team and
Oh,
who?
my top four. My top four are my top four is Majesty, Auntie, Asia, and Jaharia.
Okay, good choices.
Yeah.
We're pretty close.
Actually, I gotta take that back. I love Jaharia. Jaharia would be in my top five. I would have Pie in my top four.
Oh, okay. Pie would be in my top five, but probably not my top four.
Right. So ours would probably be like the same. We'd swap out Jaharia.
But I have Gray. I have Gray, and you have Majesty.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah, I
Yep.
would have Gray in mine.
Yep. But yes, Auntie has had it up to here, and basically calls out Majesty, saying, "Not every conversation has to be about you. It's always about you. These are signs of a narcissist."
That gags me so hard because I kind of hadn't picked up on that, but I had picked up on when the whole when Majesty pulled Aurora aside, episode 1, and was like someone's saying two. It was like someone saying rumors that she did whatever. And then Auntie didn't know who it was or anything like that. But out of nowhere, it just goes, I think that the person who did it is just trying to create drama or just trying to like create storylines or whatever. And I've mentally thought this a little bit in the back of my head, like, is all of this actually Majesty's neurosis just playing out in front of us, or is Majesty really pulling these storylines?
See, I had a theory last week, because that's really when Auntie kind of got set off. And part of me wondered if Auntie told Majesty that. And then when Aurora found out, she was like, well, I only told one person, and it was Majesty. Because I don't think Majesty could have just pulled that out of the air if we had a couple of other people kind of back it up and be like, yeah, I'd heard rumors. So,
and it would make the most sense if it was Auntie, given the fact that like Auntie said that she heard the rumor, and we're all from like, well, Auntie's not from Chicago, like she said, which is true. She's from Rockford. She's like an hour or two away from Chicago. So that would be interesting if that was. I wonder if we can get like a roll the tape later and like see, when the actual conversation went down and who was between and da 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 da. Because I'm very interested to see how the Majesty storyline is playing out, because Majesty's making themselves look like they are just going through hell and high water, child. Right. Like, what was it, the last episode? I will not get over when they were having all three of those different conversations. And Majesty's is just like them just losing it, girl. Just losing it. It was like, and then my uncle just died 3 weeks ago. Oh my God. I was like, what is going on?
It was the weirdest edit.
Oh my God.
Yeah. But yeah,
I was like, a lot is happening. A lot is happening.
For real. Yeah, but Auntie is going in on Majesty. She says that she doesn't trust people who are nice to her face, but she hears her talk about other people behind their back, which is actually that's kind of fair, because if somebody is being nice to you, but you hear them talk about other people, then there's a good chance they might be talking about you behind your back too.
Yeah.
But
she said it like she was speaking from experience.
True.
She said it like she's dealt with like narcissistic like partners or friends or something, and then she's been like, yeah, no, I already know the warning signs. I see the forest through the trees. Like, you're not about to catch me up. You're not about to get me together. And I'm like, okay, I get that, Miss Self-Aware.
Yep.
She said, all right.
So I agree with a lot of what Auntie is saying. I think that there's a gentler approach she could have had, because if you come at somebody that hard, chances are they're not going to be receptive to what you have to say. And I think she had a lot of good things to say there. But yeah, Majesty comes back and she's like, well, if you're sensing that I'm fake, it's really just my insecurity. I don't know if I should be here or not. I don't know if I'm ready to compete. That's what you're seeing. It is not me being fake. And I think that's fair too. I really think that is the truth with Majesty. She does not seem ready to come back, honestly. Mentally.
But I don't see her. I guess I get that.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I get that. It's just, I guess what gets me is the fact that I'm still thinking of how she's actually doing in the competition. And I feel like that it would be a little bit more poignant if she was just bombing everything. But I don't think she is. Like the Boulets have actively set up and said that they made a good choice when it came to casting her again. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm like,
Mm-hmm. I see what you're saying. But so anyways, we do get the video come on with the Boulets. They announced that this week they're going to the Ghost Train. They're going to be making looks for ghosts, and they will be performing a lip sync to the new song from the Boulet Brothers, The Ghost Train. And they have to split into groups of three groups of three, and they will be flying to a genuinely haunted train yard to perform these group numbers. So they have to prepare choreography and everything. Plus, they get some jewels from Fierce Drag Jewels, and part of the prize for winning this challenge will be a collection of those jewels. But also, everybody has to pick out some jewels that are in boxes and incorporate those into their looks. So we see all the jewels laid out there, and everybody goes mad scramble for those jewels. Were there any that stood out to you that you would have been like, "Oh, I need that one"?
I will say, just because there was a lot of red ones, and I'm not the craziest about red. I did like the ones that Jaharia got, the ones that were all black.
The black ones, yeah.
I did like those. I like those a lot. I also wanted to say too, I could tell that this challenge was coming because of the framework of how Dragula works. Like usually we'll start out, with like they try to fit the first couple tenets. Like they try to fit the tenets of Dragula within the first couple of challenges if they don't pop a team challenge in there somewhere or something. Like if it's not like a Monsters of Rock challenge we're getting early or something, then it's like they try to hit the tenets. And we had our filth category, we had our horror one, like episode 1. And so I was like, well, we haven't had a glamour challenge yet. And I was like, so we got to have a glamour challenge coming around the corner from somewhere. I was like, the next one is either going to be that or the Monsters of Rock challenge.
Right.
And then when I found out it was the ghost ship one, I was like, what's this going to be? And then when I found out about the jewels and everything, I was like, oh, this is the glamour challenge. I was like, okay. So I was like, I already know who this challenge is made for. I already know who's going to win it. And if she doesn't win it, I'm going to be upset. She did, so I was like, work. But I did see this one being like, okay, work. Now we're getting to see like the other facets of like we're getting like I've seen some other girls are going to be getting some shine this episode. You know what I mean? Which I felt like I liked. I liked seeing some other girls getting some shine. I liked seeing some people that have still been getting some shine continue to get shine to show how versatile they are. I also like some people's weaknesses being a little bit shown too. As to, well, we thought you've been eating it up all the time, but apparently this time, you're a little bit on the weaker tier. So I always think that when it comes to Dragula, and I think that Sigourney Beaver has honestly been like my main person that just pushed this narrative for me, is that Dragula is not just horror and filth. There is a glamour aspect into it. When you look at the Boulets themselves are I would say more horror glamour than any of the other like 2 out of the 3 tenants. You know what I mean? Glamour is a very big part of their aesthetic when it comes to their drag, and it is something that they look for. that's the reason why I think that when you get the horror challenges and the spooky girls and stuff, that's sickening. But then when they do underplay or doubt the glamour girls, I'm like, girl, you can't actually do that, because that is one of the full tenets of
Exactly.
Dragula. Like, it is legitimate, you know. And then when those challenges come up and the other spooky girls falter, I'm like, see, girl, like, you can't come in here and just be completely spooky 365 days and win this whole competition.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
it's the gatekeeping.
Right. It's like that's not all it is as to being a monster. And so I like when we have the glamour challenges, because then it really it lets the girls who people doubt show off a little bit more, but then also it puts more of a creative chokehold on those other girls to be like, okay, now what can you do in this realm? And like, some of them end up surprising us and be like, ooh, okay, I didn't know that you could. This would be what your style of glamour is. I live for that. Like, I was interested. Also, as well, too, I'll note on it once we get down to that part, but I do remember that they were supposed to all incorporate the jewels or whatever into their looks. One girl flat out did not have no earrings on whatsoever. I noticed it during deliberation, and I was like, wait, weren't they supposed to all be wearing the earrings?
Okay, I didn't notice, though.
I'll say who it is when we get there,
Okay.
but yeah.
Yeah, so next up we have everybody deciding what groups they're going to get into. They don't know if they're going to talk about it together or just break off and figure it out. But they kind of break off and figure it out. And here is where I'm just seeing so much self-production from Majesty, because there are things that she's doing while they're trying to figure out groups. Like, it shows Pi and Yuri talking, and she just pops up in the middle of them. And I'm like, girl, this is not natural. Like, I could just picture in my head her going to the camera guy. Okay, here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna come over there. I'm gonna pop up, and she tells them. I just see her producing everything that she's doing, and I just want to see more natural Majesty.
We replaced the fright feet with a new segment called Majesty Breaks the Fourth Wall.
Yeah.
With a montage of Majesty breaking the fourth wall for about a minute and a half.
And everybody's like, trying to get away from her. And then we get the confessional, and she's like, well, everybody wants to be on my team, and I just feel so bad because I can only pick two.
And Yuri's like, don't pick me. Don't pick me. Who's out?
We do get our first team picked, and it is actually Majesty, Gray, and Yuri. And Yuri says she's happy about one of her teammates.
This was so, like, crazy, because, like, at one point, Pi really wanted to be on a team with Asia. But then I also agree with what Asia was saying. Y'all are supposed to be in an alliance. That's dumb for y'all to both be on the same team. I was like, y'all should be on different teams. That way y'all can, like, talk to
divide
each other
and conquer
about what the other people are doing. Like, what are you doing? Like, you're sitting here. You were the person who kind of initially said this whole thing is a game. You're not playing the game right yet. You lucked out and got, like, the star freaking player on your team.
We do see Asia. She picks her number one person she wants to be with, and that is Aurora. So now the problem is we need to figure out who the third person is going to be. And it seems like a lot of them want to be on the team with Asia and Aurora, but Vivi kind of speaks up and just joins them. So it ends up being Asia, Aurora, and Vivi. And then left over is Auntie, Pi, and Jaharia, which is actually a pretty good team.
Because what happened was this, and this was so weird. So what happened was this. Asia wanted to be on the team. Asia and Auntie said they want to be on the team. Well, Asia wanted to be on the team with somebody. Pi said he wanted to be on the team with Asia. I thought initially what happened was Pi was wanting to be on the team with Asia and Auntie. That's what Pi was wanting. Probably. So while this is happening, Asia's thinking to herself, well, I don't want to be on a team with Pi because I feel like this is going to be too obvious. So I don't have a problem being on a team with Auntie. I want to be on a team with Pi. They don't let Pi know this. So all three of them kind of sort of think they're on a team together. But Auntie and Asia are the one that are actually looking for a third member. So they're looking around. They're trying to find somebody. They both offhandedly, no, I think Pi and Auntie both agree on Jaharia being a good team member. But at the
Mhm.
same time, those two people don't realize they're thinking of Jaharia replacing one of the three of them. So
Good point.
Auntie is sitting here thinking, okay, me, Asia, and Jaharia is gonna be a good team. Pi is thinking, okay, Asia, and Jaharia is gonna be a good team. Neither of them is thinking one of them is gonna be taking the other one out, right? So Asia decides to just throw a wrench in the whole goddamn thing and go, well, you know what? I want to be with Aurora. And so everyone's like, okay, well, there only leaves one spot left now. So Auntie is sitting here like, I don't want to be with Pi. I don't want to be with Pi. I don't want to be with Pi. But then Vivi jumps up out of nowhere, like you said, and goes, okay, well, I guess I'll be with Aurora and Asia. And so they're like, and so both of them are like, well, we both want to be with Jaharia, so I guess we're Jaharia, but that makes us have to be in a group with each other. And I was just like,
the drama.
I was like, this was so much. It was like watching, you know, those old Benny Hill skits.
Yes.
Like one woman would walk through one door and one would come through the other door, and then they would cross. It was like that. It was like that, just forming a group. I was like, it was. I can hear it in the back.
Well, didn't Meatball do like a little skit like that in what was it, season 2? Like at the the finale of season 2, it was like Meatball running in and out of a door.
Maybe.
I
feel like I remember something like that. They weren't running in and out of like the Cauldron, were they?
I don't remember. It was in black and white, and it was just Meatball running around through doors.
That makes sense.
Yeah. But anyways, we finally have our teams. So we see a little bit of them working on choreography. Not much really stood out with me or to me on that one. We get them working on their looks. Asia, she's working on a coal shoveler look, apparently. Aurora is working. She wants to be a debutante that was killed for her jewels, and she's very excited to lean into the glamour after the critique that she got.
Yeah.
We see Gray is going to be a Texas cowboy and a train robber, and not using
in theory sounded good.
And Pi is going to be a damsel in distress that got railed by the train. I was like, that's a way to put it, Pi.
If you were on the train and you died, who would you be?
Oh, that is a great question that I was not at all prepared to answer. I think like leaning into a train robber is a good idea. I don't think I'd do a Texas cowboy train robber, but like more of like maybe like an escaped person from a prison or something. Kind of like the Soggy Bottom Boys.
Okay.
Yeah.
I get that. Like you hopping trains or something.
Yeah, exactly. What about you?
Just because I feel like it would be not easy to do, but I feel like it would be easy to place me in the train. Is I would be the conductor.
Okay, I could see that.
Yeah, I feel like that is what it ended up being, like a double-edged thing when it came to the challenge. Is not just you know, giving like that horror glamour dead aspect, but also being somebody that can be placed in the train, you know what I mean, in some kind of way. And so I feel like that would just be like half of the challenge already done for me if I just pick like someone that works on the train, you know what I mean. Then the rest of it is just like making myself look spooky. So yeah, I think I'd probably be like the conductor.
That's good. What about like a circus showman that got like killed by animals or something? Because you know how animals are on trains.
But then I feel like I would get the critique of how are they on a train? Or I couldn't fully tell.
Because they're circus trains.
Also,
you haven't watched Dumbo?
Yes, but also at the same time, they're kind of over circus and clown stuff.
True.
So I wouldn't want to do that either. I was thinking more along. Like Wild Wild West, like Will
Jim
Smith,
West,
like
Desperado, Rough
yes,
Rider.
like
No, you
that,
don't want nada.
or
None of
like,
this.
or I
Okay.
would try to be like, I would, or ooh, oh, I don't. If my imagination was just that huge and I had the money and the mechanics and stuff, I would try to be like someone from like Wild Wild West, kind of like
Oh, the
Loveless,
steampunk
but
type of thing.
right, I would have to be like a steampunk mixed with train kind of situation, to a point where like I would want to have like almost like how Loveless had like no legs, but he had the seat that had like the tarantula legs, like something
Hmm.
like that.
Ooh, what if somebody did Pat Monahan?
Did who?
Pat Monahan.
Why do I feel like?
He's the lead singer of Train.
Oh God. I was like, why do I feel like that name is familiar, but it doesn't fit into this context at all? Because it did.
Tell
Okay,
me.
cool. Okay,
I'm so funny. What
you
can I say?
are, you are, you are a teehee. You are a
Thank you. Thank
teehee.
you. I try.
So, were there any? Well, one. This is the first challenge that we've had so far. Ooh, I need to get me my phone charger. This is the first challenge that we had so far where we did not have a fright feat, so we didn't have
Hmm.
a spell being cast.
And we didn't have Cynthia.
Yeah, we didn't have Cynthia. Cynthia is she's kind of becoming a key for me. I'm very
She's
happy
killing
with
it.
her. I will actively say as well too. I wanted JK to be the extra sister uh of last season, so that way we get a chance to see her all season. But I'm very okay
Mm,
with seeing Cynthia still.
yeah.
Um just because Cynthia also did like Cynthia hooked me with the bitch there's the door. Like with
Right.
when she did, yeah, when she did that in the season, I was like, wait, she's hilarious. She's kind of iconic.
Yep.
Um,
Who's your exorcister for season 7 so far?
so far, my ex's sister for season
I
7.
think it's a pretty easy answer personally.
Do what?
I think it's a pretty easy answer personally.
Oh, for me,
Hmm. Do you want to hear mine?
honestly, for me, I think my ex's sister for this season is Aurora.
Oh, okay. I did not expect that.
Yeah,
Because I think she's kind of like, she can be a pretty muted personality. I think it's the way she delivers things. It's kind of like monotone. So
yeah,
that's the only reason that I don't know that I would pick her. I personally would keep it in Casey and I would have Jaharia.
Aria.
Mhm.
Yeah, I was thinking possibly Jaharia. Um, but yeah, I would say Aurora, um, or Yuri.
Okay.
Aurora or Yuri, I would say. But I
Hmm.
would love to see Aurora. I would love to see Aurora come back and us to have us a glamour ghoul for the next Ex's sister. That'd be sickening.
That would be cool. We do have a conversation once again between Majesty and Auntie. Majesty comes and she's more trying to explain herself to Auntie, and she thanks her for being honest and bringing that to her attention. But it still seems like Auntie is not quite ready to hear it from Majesty. She still calls her out on being a narcissist. Um, and yeah, it's there doesn't seem to be room for grace yet, which is fair. Um,
Auntie is acting like they dated.
right?
I love Auntie Deb, but Auntie's acting like they have
Yep.
history. She's like, I'm not gonna believe you.
This was the first
Are
time.
a narcissist. Blah blah blah.
This,
I was like, someone triggered that baby.
right.
She's dealt with an ex-boyfriend who was a narcissist, or an ex-best friend, or an ex-partner, whoever. That
Mhm.
is what it's giving. Auntie's like, I have seen the warning signs before. I've missed the writing on the wall the first time. I'm not missing it again. You're not gonna try me. You're not gonna pull the one over on me. You're not gonna pull the wool over my eyes. I'm already keen to your game. Already keen to your games. It's over. And it and what and like you can tell that Auntie is reacting defensively. Like, yes, she's being aggressive, but it's defensively aggressive.
Mhm.
Like I'm not about to put my hand in the lion's mouth. You're not going to trick me into doing it.
Right.
But the downside is the fact that the way that Majesty is reacting, and the way that Majesty has been reacting for most of the season, has been playing more on the sympathies of everyone else.
Mhm.
So Majesty doesn't look like a lion. Majesty just looks like a kitty cat, and so it's not to the point yet where Auntie looks like she's just being mean or whatever. But I do feel like that it is bringing, like, I feel like it is highlighting, hopefully, certain things that happen to have people question them a little bit more, as opposed to just seeing. Because I feel like that's how everyone started out. I feel like everyone started out when Majesty first walked in, like, we need to be on guard. This is James Majesty. We know how James was in season 2. We're not gonna deal with James's games. And from day one, James has been all very like, I don't know if I should be here. I'm really insecure. I'm really this. And like that's the narrative James has played the entire season. And so it,
Maybe she's
like I
just
said,
looking for validation.
like I said, this is either actually James's neurosis playing out in front of all of us, or James is playing a real, smart ass game.
Yep.
That's what I have to say. Because he's got James kind of has everybody in the palm of his hand as of right now. Just because like he's been able to slowly stir the pot without with it seeming like that it's coming from a genuine place, as opposed to being a conniving place. So that's one of those things where it's like either Auntie is right and she's clocking everything that James is doing, or James is just, whatever. But I mean, I'm someone that's now more on guard and paying attention to it, because I noticed one or two of those things happen with James before, and I also wrote it off because I was like, well, James seems to be going through a lot. James, you know what I mean, is like having this happen. I'm like, what if all of this is planned?
Theories. Yeah,
And
I
they
honestly,
I thought that even more later on in the episode when she said something, I was like, wait a minute now, hold
we'll
on.
get into it.
Yeah, we'll get into it.
But yeah, I honestly just get the vibe Majesty is somebody who needs to hear a lot of validation. And I'm kind of the same way. Like, words of affirmation is my love language. So if I don't get a lot of reassurance about things, then I really start to question myself. And I'm like, well, was this good? Am I doing things the wrong way? So in that way, I think I can relate to Majesty, just because like she keeps like almost fishing for like some sort of like compliments from people. Um, but then we also get like people calling out Auntie, like Asia saying, well, who's the one with the tattoo of their face on their chest? Maybe it's a pot calling the kettle black. Maybe you're the narcissist. Which I don't know. Maybe she's clocking her. Maybe there's some validity to that read.
I think that there is a little bit. I think, and this is the sad part, I love Auntie to death. I do think Auntie's probably dealt with narcissists before her life. I do think that Auntie is possibly a little bit narcissistic herself. I do think that maybe it is a little bit of a hit dog holler kind of a thing, where some of the attributes or some of the things that James is doing is hitting her because it's stuff that she would do. Because like even like I love her to death, but like even when Scylla was there, almost the entire time Scylla was there, she made a point to make sure that everyone knew that was her drag daughter, but she didn't take any responsibility for it whatsoever.
Right.
Kind of being like, oh yeah, she still has something to do with me. Not that much though, not too much. Like, you know what I mean? Like it, you know, there's just little things, but like, and I also know Auntie, so
Mm,
I don't think that Auntie is a narcissistic person.
right.
Um, I think that Auntie is one of those people that it's like, you know how there are drag entertainers that when they're in drag, they're extremely type A about themselves, more so than they are when they're out of drag. Like it is their show whenever they walk in,
Hmm.
like me,
Fair.
like me.
Yep.
But I think that's a lot more of what it is than it being a narcissist thing, because I don't fully see Auntie being that narcissistic out of drag. I think that Auntie is one of those kind of people that the character of Auntie really helped her out of drag when it came to life and confidence and this, that, and the other, and da 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 da. So she holds her in a very high regard. So I mean, that of course is going to make her look like coming out like, oh, you just love yourself. And I'm like, well, there are a lot of entertainers out there whose drag persona kind of saved their lives. You know what I mean? And
True.
so I don't always look at it to be that way as, oh my God, you care that much about your drag persona. Well, you might, because I mean, it just depends on what that drag persona means to you. But I do feel like that her personality in drag is very much one of those type A drag queens in drag. Like it's the me show kind of a thing. Um,
Yep.
I don't think that that fully means that that's rooted in narcissism to the point where she thinks she's the greatest and she's better than everyone else. I think she's just very much like I'm my own cheerleader, lights, camera, action on me kind
Hmm.
of a thing, and like I resonate with that. So
Yep.
I've had
That's
people
fair.
think the same thing about me, that I'm possibly very stuck up or full of myself or this, that, and the other, because it's very much the Eve the Bunny show whenever I go out in drag or whatever. I'm like, no, because I love myself and I just like
Hmm.
I like being the main character in my own little show, y'all,
Right.
and it's a fun time. Like it's yeah.
What What do you say? I'm too much because you're too little, right?
Right, very much like I'm too much, or you might not be enough. There's
Right.
that's how that
Classic.
goes.
Yeah,
Period.
but it's funny though because I do remember going on an Instagram live, like watching. I was a spectator, but I've talked about this, and it was right after the cast was announced, and it was Auntie Heroine, it was Jaharia, it was Pi, it was Asia Consent, and Desiree popped on for a little bit too. In the entire time, it was Auntie directing the conversation. Almost it felt like a talk show, and she was hosting it, and like Pi brought up insecurities about her voice, and Auntie was the one there giving validation, and it just was like everything was centered around Auntie and her personality and her perspective. So I that was the immediate sign. I'm like, I think Auntie's probably going to go pretty far in the season because she feels very confident. She feels like a personality that's very TV ready, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I think that's kind of a quality that's in a successful drag queen, is somebody who can really hold conversations, is very self-assured, and yeah, just basically type A. Like that's the most successful type of drag queens are usually type A.
Yeah,
So I
especially
think it's
especially if they
just
have a
a
good
weird mix between her and Majesty is all.
yeah, especially if they have like a good amount of hosting experience, because I feel like that's something in the latter part of me in my drag career that I've started to realize can take you very far. It's just knowing how to be that on personality when you're put on a microphone or when you're put in front of a panel of people or a group of people. It's also a big skill that helps when it comes to doing pageants and stuff like that too, when you have question and answer or you're being asked things on the microphone. um, just being able to have that ease to know how to flow through a room. And like Auntie is one of those kind of people that she hosts her all her own gigs and has for like years and years and years and years. So like just the way that she is able to move throughout spaces and like almost be like the mediator for conversations, and you know what I mean, and stuff like that or whatever. I can I can see that so easy from her. So easy from her.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's one of those kind of things where it's like put her up there with everybody else and they have to do press junkets and stuff like that. She would in no way be nervous. You know what I mean? She'd probably be one of the most best spoken ones up there. You know what I mean? Like it makes me think of, and then take this with a grain of salt, because now her legacy is kind of tarnished, which I really hate. But it is that. But Shangela was somebody who was like that on Drag Race, because I would remember interviews that they would have when she would be on either like We're Here or for when she was there for All Stars or one of her earlier seasons or whatever. And it would be interviewing all the girls. And when I tell you, when they got to Shangela, it was like she knew exactly what to say, exactly when to put something wink, wink, nudge, nudge in there, exactly when to plug the show. It's like it's Auntie is somebody that I know that they are going to keep in high regard in this show because they're not just looking for an entertainer. They're looking for someone that can be the face of the brand. They want to make sure that she can hold her own during interviews and she can be up there for these press junkets and do this, that, and the other. You know what I mean? For these podcasts and all this other kind of stuff. It's like she's her, along with Majesty, are both two people that I feel like are very, very well spoken professional entertainers when it comes to hosting and stuff like that. So it's like maybe part of Auntie picking out Majesty is because she kind of sees her as that main. Maybe she likes to sit up there and say that Aisha's her main rival, but maybe her main rival is Majesty because they're very similar.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Wait, do you hear that? You hear that?
Yeah.
Attention competitors. Attention competitors.
I didn't hear it.
The show is about to begin.
You're muted now.
I'm muted?
Okay, now you're not.
Oh, it was the attention competitors music.
It hates me. The music hates me. I have no idea
It's
why.
not right.
I'm hearing her.
It's funny that I was like, do you hear that? And you're like, no, I literally cannot hear it. But yes, we get our floor show, but first we see our judges, our guest judges. This week are Justin Simeon, director of the Haunted Mansion, and a gay director. We love to see it. And then we have Landon Sider there. Landon's one of my faves, if not my fave ever, from Dragula, way up there.
Winner of season 3.
Yes, winner of season 3, very much deserved. So,
quick thing, don't like the Boulets outfits.
Not my favorite.
Don't like them. I honestly, like I said, with my look or whatever, I feel like that's something that they should have done because, like, yes, we know that they like wear these like almost ready to wear outfits that like loosely are based off of whatever the challenge is. Like them wearing that orange and black for the Halloween one. But it would have been real cute if they would have had like gowns that had they had like little train conductor hats on or whatever or something. Like they're the conductors of the ghost train. But this opportunity.
Yeah, that would have been cute. But we are not going to talk about the looks here. We're going to save that for look over there. But I want to look at them real quickly just so they're fresh in our mind. So, of course, the floor show theme is Ghost Train. And we have Anti-Heroine. Asia Consent. Gray Matter. Majesty. We have Aurora Cosmic.
Orgasmic Gosmic.
We have Vivi the Forest. We have Pi.
P.
I knew it. We have Jaharia. We have Yuri. Nothing for Yuri? And that's it. That was everybody. So yeah, we do see their lip sync to the Ghost Train by the Boulet Brothers. Didn't love the song personally.
Didn't either. I didn't either. I not one of my favorite lip syncs. I feel like that so far, like I don't really get impressed when they're like, we want you to lip sync to our new song. I'm always like, it's more of a cringe than when RuPaul does it. I'm like, ugh.
It's like every drag queen just feels like, I'm a singer. I'm a singer. I'm a drag queen. Therefore, I'm a singer.
And to be honest with you, I prefer them lip syncing to another song that might just like fit that demographic. Like,
Right.
I was not mad at all of them lip syncing the Slater. Before last.
That was really cool.
I wasn't mad at that at all. But I feel like they've done that with other ones because I think they did. I think there was once when they had them lip sync to Nails by Alaska. A couple of seasons ago. Other ones like that, I feel like have been okay. I think the only one I've liked was the one that they did when it was like the Nosferatu beach party. I think that was the only one that I actually liked.
Right. That was cute.
Yeah.
But even with this lip sync, like beyond the song, I thought it was cool that they took them to the train yard. I thought the lighting was atrocious. Like you could not see their looks very well at all. Like there were a lot of looks I could not appreciate until I saw them on the actual stage and I could see the details and I'm like, oh, okay, I get your look now. But I just couldn't see enough when they were out there.
I kind of agreed and kind of disagreed with some of their like their critiques on the groups. I kind of felt like I could see how certain groups were like, I could see what the critiques were going to be for certain group members, but it was weird to me the way that they did judging because I would have assumed that they would have done like a winning group, a middle group, and a losing group.
I thought they were.
Yeah, but they ended up doing 4 top people and 2 people in the bottom. So that's why I was like, okay, maybe
I can go ahead and show our top 4. Anti-Heroine, Aurora Gosmic, Pi, and Yuri.
So it's everybody blue and Yuri.
There were so many blue people.
There was a lot of blue people.
I liked it though.
But that was one thing I was thinking though. I was like, okay, all right. It's like once they had said who the top like 6 like tops, the 6 were who are the tops and the bottoms, I was like, oh, so everyone that's blue is in the top. I automatically said that. The first thing I thought was like, well, everyone that's blue is in the top, which means everyone who wasn't is in the bottom. But when they were giving Yuri good critiques, I was like, this is the second time this has happened this season where they had a top 4 instead of a top 3. I'm interested.
And I think they saved a person from being in the bottom 3. It's the same person both times, personally, by having a top 4 instead. But I am curious who your top 4 would have been this week. For me, it's really hard to call. I had a top 1. I had a clear top 1, and then everything else was kind of fuzzy.
So I had a clear top 2.
Okay.
My clear top 2 were Aurora and Anti. Only because of production. Only because I could tell of how everything was playing out, how things were looking, especially with this being the Glamour Challenge. I was looking at Aurora extremely hard, and I was like, if Aurora is not shaky at all in this, she'll be in the top. And so when I saw like her looking like honestly one of the cleanest ones out of everybody's and stuff, and I was like, yeah, and she's not a bad lip syncer either. She does do this thing sometimes when she lip syncs, so I'm just kind of like, I'm looking at her mouth kind of weird. But I also think the downside to that is like certain songs, I feel like that you have to I feel like this is something I do personally. Everyone does not pronounce words and vowel sounds and stuff like that the same. So I do feel like when it comes to certain songs, the way the word you is said in this song may be different than the way it's said in this song. So sometimes you have to adjust your mouth and stuff like that. And I think that one issue that I see with Aurora sometimes, and with some entertainers, is that they almost pronounce the words the same in every song they do them in. So it's like sometimes it doesn't fully you're saying the right words, but it doesn't look like you're actually saying them all the time, you know? And that was the issue I had a little bit with this lip sync. It was almost like they knew all the words, but they didn't know the song that well. So they knew where the words are supposed to go, but they don't know if they're supposed to hold that U, if it's supposed to be short, if it's, you know what I mean, if it's whatever.
Yeah.
But I would say those two were the ones that I saw as like my main like top two. If I would have if they would have done by teams, this is what got me confused. If they would have done by teams, I would have thought the team that they would have probably ended up picking would have been Auntie, Pie, and Jaharia's team. Because it was looking like they had the most clean aesthetic of like, they looked like they were trying to be an actual group.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's more so than the other two were.
No, I definitely agree with that. It did feel like there was a good shot that was going to be the top three. But for me, like you couldn't have tops without Aurora because she killed it. Like I was blown away by how good she was in this. Yeah. As soon as she popped up at the beginning when they were showing the floor show looks, I was like, oh, she's won. She has won already. And I wasn't sure. Like she should win is what I was thinking. I wasn't sure if they would actually give it to her. So I'm glad they did. Spoiler, but yeah, she was by far my favorite. And I will say, once I saw them under the lighting, that's when I really started to appreciate anti-heroine's look. I just couldn't get all the details. Like I didn't even see like detective when she was on the train. Like it was too dark.
Because like it was blue and she was blue and the lighting was blue and it just like
I couldn't make out the hat.
Yeah, I will also say one thing I think played to Aurora's favor a lot is a lot of people tried to go as like, there were more people that tried to go as dead passengers on the train as opposed to like train workers or, you know what I mean, or whatever, you know. And so it worked out because I mean it made me think of like the movie Ghost Ship,
right,
where everybody was just there and they were just all rich and they just happened to be dead. You know, they ended up dead on this ship.
Still
so
one
like
of the coolest scenes when they all die. It's still one of the coolest scenes from a movie when they all die.
Oh yeah, with the wire thing. That's still crazy. But like that, I was like that played I think the most to Aurora's aesthetics because I feel like that if everybody would have mostly dressed up as like trained workers or someone that was like doing something on the train as opposed to just a rich dead person on the train, then they possibly would have questioned her look a little bit more. Because like I feel like that is kind of what happened last season when they did the Dead Hotel. And they were making it like, okay, well, it looks like some of y'all just were at the hotel and you died. You know what I mean? What is your actual purpose for being at the hotel? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like they could have went along that same wormhole and been like, well, what is your purpose for being on the train? You just look like a rich dead person that you died on the train, you know? But since almost everybody was giving that look of like, oh, I'm a dead passenger kind of a situation or in some kind of capacity. Like, it worked to the best, I feel like, for them. But yeah, I would have had my top two is Auntie and Aurora, but I would have had my top three as Auntie, Aurora, and Jaharia.
Yeah, I think that's very fair. Like Jaharia, I think having a pretty unique concept with her look and just killing it with the lip sync, I think there's a good argument to have her in the top. I did really like Pie's concept, but there were parts of the look itself that I didn't like. But I like the extremeness of it, you know.
Also, Pie was the one that didn't have no earrings on.
Ooh, didn't clock it.
So I would have been like, well, technically, you didn't include the fierce drag jewels into your look, so that automatically knocks you down.
Maybe she ate them.
I don't like. I was trying to figure out what like she in no way incorporated them. I don't think at all into her look. So that's why I was kind of like I'm confused as to why Was that a stipulation?
Why,
Was
Pie?
it not a stipulation? You know.
But we do get our winner, and it is Aurora Cosmic, and I think very much deserved.
Go ahead, Team Chicago.
Mhm.
Congratulations to my sister. Period. They're probably losing their mind at Roscoe's right now watching the episode. But yeah, no, she did what needed to be done. She held it down.
For sure. And on the other end of the spectrum, we do find out our bottom two, and it is Team David. My two draft picks, Gray Matter and Vivi the Force. Wouldn't have been my bottom two.
Wouldn't have been my bottom two either.
One of them would have.
Well, hold on. No, actually, I lied. Yeah, they would have been my bottom two.
You would have had both of them down there?
Yeah.
Okay. I would have had Vivi the Force down there. But I wouldn't have had Gray. I actually really like this concept. I like that Gray was the only one that didn't do like a female presenting person. I like that we saw more makeup this time instead of just prosthetics. They tried to read them saying, "Oh, you look like a scare actor." What's wrong with that? Like some scare actors, like it depends on what kind. Like there's some cheap looking scare actors. This was not a cheap looking scare actor to me, so I wouldn't have had them in the bottom two.
I agree. I agree with what they're saying because the issue is when they're saying it's giving more scare actor than it is drag entertainer, because Auntie did bring this up that this is a drag competition still at the end of the day. So I understand you giving off that aesthetic of you looking that way, but the way you could have dragged it up is the way that a lot of other people, because I look at it this way, the way that a lot of other people have dragged up their looks, but still been able to give that aesthetic.
Mm-hmm.
You could have put some rhinestones in the blood. You know what I mean? That's the little kind of extra draggy kind of things that they're looking for, where it doesn't specifically look like you're a Universal Studios actor, which was like the big critique that Victoria Elizabeth Black used to get a lot, was the fact that it was looking like your stuff would be in a movie. Oh my God, it's amazing. It's scary. It's giving that brief, but you don't look like a drag entertainer in any way. You look like a different style of entertainer. You look like a movie entertainer, which is completely different. You know what I mean? It's like drag entertainers can do movies. Not all movie entertainers are drag queens. And so I guess that's the difference. It's like, I get what they were saying when it comes to that, because I was like, I loved his look last week, but at the same time, his look last week was in no way drag. Like the bunny look, I was like, I loved it to death, but it was not drag. I was like, it was like a Halloween costume. Now, if he would have had some crazy stupid lashes on, or if the shoes would have been heels, or like those little bitty niche things to add that turn of queer art into it. You know what I mean? As opposed to it just being a horror medium, is I feel like what they're looking for when it comes to you not just being great at what you're doing, but also still being able to fight. Because drag is one of the tenets of Dragula too. Because they say it, drag, filth, horror, and glamour. It is 4 tenets. Drag is one of them. You have to give some type of drag, and I get that because I was pissed at them when they would give that critique to Victoria, because I'm like, I don't understand what you guys are talking about. Now I'm getting it, where I'm like, yeah, I do see where there still needs to be a little bit of a queer drag element into what you do, so that way it doesn't look so to the book of you're just being a scared entertainer. You know what I mean? Kind of a thing. I
see what you're saying. I just kind of don't care, because I'm so just into everything that Gray is presenting on the show. And like Gray said, I'm bringing a new facet to this competition, and I think Gray definitely is bringing a new facet. Maybe it's not within the bounds of what we've come to expect, but I still think it's really cool. Like, I think everything we've seen from Gray is very cinematic. And as a movie buff, a horror movie buff, I'm just here for it. So I probably would have had in the bottom two, I probably would have had Majesty. I wasn't into the look. I thought it was a little boring.
Yeah, I would have Majesty in the bottom 3, but I wouldn't have had Majesty in the bottom over Gray, because Just I was like, yeah, I do agree with what you're saying. Like, I wish there was just a little bit more. Because the only thing is like, there aren't a lot of times when you have drag entertainers that are mask presenting on Dragula. Other than like we just recently started having an
Kings,
influx of kings. Like we just recently had like more of an influx of kings after Landon. And Landon was only one on his whole season. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
We lucked out and had 2 last season. But those kind of people are the ones that I now have in my head when I see male presenting drag
Mm-hmm.
on Drag Race. It's like I want to see that little bit of a level of extraness, like some of the clothing needs to be made out of a sequin fabric. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like something has to have like a little bit more, like you know what I mean? Just look like it. Like I'm like, for me, if you're going to be giving sickening ass male presenting drag on Dragula, you need to be like a good. You need to be a good mix of Landon. You need to be a good mix of what the fuck was his name from last season? Who I didn't care for that much, but he was actually
Throb Zombie.
Rob. Like it's got to be
And Jarvis.
It's Jarvis. It's got to be that type of. You don't look like just a straight dude. Like you almost.
You
look
mean
like
not a wife beater in jeans?
Huh?
You mean not a wife beater in jeans?
Right.
Performing to an Eminem song?
Right.
Tell me you haven't seen that a million times.
Yes, I have. It's just like it's like I want to see you a little. I want to see a little bit more of a caricature of it, as opposed to you looking so much like it. And I feel like that's probably something that would have helped me out with Gray's. If Gray's look would have been Gray's look, but if Gray would have had, let's say he's a train robber, if he would have came out with a comically huge like cowboy hat on, you know what I mean? Like if parts of the look were exaggerated to the point where we're like, yes, you're giving us a farce of a train robber kind of a guy, then I feel like it would have leaned more into the drag aesthetic of it, and it would have been okay. It's like he was trying to judge Desiree's look by saying that it was like too realistic, like it looked like stuff you could get from a thrift store, then whatever. I was like, but also your look looks a little bit too realistic in the fact of like it looks like it can be purchased too. Maybe not from a thrift store, but it does look like you
that rabbit
somewhere. Yes.
Oh my gosh!
I swear to God, I promise you that rabbit looks like you could have got that as a costume on Amazon.
Okay.
I'm not saying it's cheap or anything, but I'm like, you're not trying to sit over here and tell me that you don't see Donnie Darko looking rabbit costumes coming out every Halloween
with
like,
carrot dicks?
Huh?
With carrot dicks?
I'm not saying specifically like his, but I'm saying yes, referencing his.
You
yes,
mean like
I do.
A base template that Gray very much improved on. Yes. Okay, I'll give you that.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It's like it's not.
It was still damn good.
It was good. It's just not original. I need to be a little bit more original.
See, we would have been fighting last week, Eve.
Yeah, we would have, because I like the outfit and I'm partial to rabbits, but at the same time, I do agree that yes, if I was looking in a Spirit Halloween book for a Donnie Darko bunny costume, something similar to what Gray would have worn would be in that book.
Okay, let's move on.
That's what I'm saying.
So,
That's what I'm saying.
We do find out that Gray and Vivi are going to have to go into a metal room with a Tesla coil and be electrocuted. So that sounds fun and pleasant, right?
But lo and behold, before all of that even happens,
we go back to the Cauldron.
And it somehow once again turns into the James Majesty show. James Majesty sits up here and says, "Oh my God, I feel so bad. I don't know what's happening. I would volunteer to go instead of you." And it's funny because she says it as a. It's funny because the two come back into the Cauldron. They're talking about why they want to stay, what's going on, what's happening, blah 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 blah. Majesty is sitting in her chair just fidgeting, girl. Just fidgeting next to Asia. And then she's just like, I just have to get up. So she gets up. It goes around on the back. Asia goes with her. Auntie's watching the whole thing like, is this bitch for real? And then she's like, it's just so much. Like, I'm like literally having a whole melodramatic moment by herself with Asia in the back. And Auntie is clocking the entire thing like, this girl is crazy. And I'm like, what is really going on tonight, y'all?
You are reminding, when you're doing those movements, have you seen the SNL skit where Kristen Wiig is the woman that like can't handle surprise parties? Like she gets way too excited. That's what you look like impersonating Majesty. Like, oh my gosh, it's gonna be a cake. There's gonna be balloons.
I just have to get up. And I was just like, are you okay? Are you okay? Like, she was, you would have thought she was in the bottom. I was like, which just adds more validity to all of what Auntie is saying. And it just makes me now once again go,
what's happening?
What's happening? But at the same time, too, this is why I have the thought that Majesty, okay, I don't know if I've said this before, but this is my thought. Yes, Majesty is on my team. Yes, I did draft Majesty, but also at the same time, I think that Majesty might be a mole by production.
Mm-hmm.
Because every single time one of these little instances has happened, production has caught it. That whole little moment easily could have been something that, like, they wouldn't have even known it happened. And then 5 or 6 seconds later, Auntie's looking around and she just sees Majesty in the back talking to somebody. It's like the way the camera was focused on Majesty the whole time. Like, they knew Majesty was finna do what she did and then get up and then go in the back and then make it a whole thing. They knew to follow her when she pulled Aurora aside at the beginning of episode 1. I mean, around the end of episode 1 with the whole rumor thing. Like all of these little things that have happened with Majesty. The whole Majesty breaking the fourth wall thing at the beginning of this episode. The whole Majesty having that whole emotional moment in the boudoir when they had like the 3 little groups of stuff happening. Like
long ass boudoir.
I'm like, it's becoming one of those things where I'm like, I really feel like that production. I feel like that these moments are produced. I feel like some of these moments are produced, and they know to catch it.
But when she was like, I would volunteer to leave instead of you all, I was like, there's the door, bitch.
Bitch, there's the door.
We do have them like talking about like, oh, have you been electrocuted before? And Vivi's like, I've never been electrocuted, but I have been shot in the back of the head with rubber bullets and bled out. And she opened up about being at a Black Lives Matter rally and being shot at by police officers.
I said, girl, so you just gave us your Drag Race exit? That's what you just did? Because that's what happens. When they be in the workroom or something, they decide to give their whole emotion. That's the most we've learned about Vivi the entirety of this entire season. And when she said that, I was like, well, damn, girl. Now okay, well, bye.
I think it's different though. I think this is showing, like, this is why I feel determined. I've dealt with that. I can deal with anything. I'm determined to kick ass in this extermination. So I actually think, like, if she had brought this up as an emotional moment earlier in the episode, I see what you're saying, but I think the timing of it right now actually worked in her favor, because on the other side of the spectrum, we see Gray like really retreating into themselves, and people are clocking it. They're like, this is not the Gray I'm used to. Gray's so quiet. Gray looks nervous. I'm worried for Gray.
But then that also of course that also makes you be like, Gray is someone that was very, very, very like largely, fan casted and someone that they really like out of this show and Vivi has had some strong stuff, but Vivi has also had some crunchy stuff. So the way I looked at it when it was going towards this extermination was, okay, Vivi's gonna go home. They're not about to get rid of Gray. Vivi's about to go home. But then, of course, they flip this whole narrative while they have them in the cauldron and have Gray being the one that's all emotionally retracted and Vivi being the one that's like, oh, I've got the fight, I've got the energy, I'm gonna do it, da, 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 da. And I'm just kind of like, this still makes me feel like y'all are setting this up to send Vivi home and to still have Great stay. So I'm interested. I'm very confused. And then we have the extermination,
Mm-hmm.
and then we are left even more confused.
Right. Yeah, we get to the extermination. They have to hold on. We see these shots of electricity just shooting out at them, and I'm like, "This is real? Like that looks nuts." I don't like these extermination challenges. I couldn't do any of them. But yeah, the whole time I'm like, well, who's gonna let go? Is anybody gonna let go? Because I think that might be the death nail if any of them did that. But they're holding on. They don't look like they're having fun. And then we get to find out who was eliminated, and we see I need Brenda from Scary Movie 2 to say those are just bones. Because the person exterminated is who?
Now this is what got me a little bit like annoyed, I guess I would say. Because I'm like, okay, yeah, this is a twist. Okay, ooh, we don't know who's eliminated. But for me, for a minute, I thought Gray was eliminated.
Because of where it was positioned?
Right, because of where the bones were positioned. I was like, okay, well, the person that was on that side of the box was Gray, so that means Gray's gone, right?
I thought the same thing.
But like when I went on to like online and I was looking around and stuff, everybody was like, wait, so we don't know who got eliminated? I was like, wait, so we don't know? And I was just like, oh God.
Yeah. I'm not sure what to think. Because I don't think we've ever had this before where we don't know who's eliminated by the end of the episode. Like we always find out. The competitors don't always find out, but we know.
We've only had it happen once.
When was that?
Top 4 of season 4.
Oh, that's because nobody was eliminated, right?
Yeah. Because they left it as a cliffhanger where we didn't know if it was going to be, I think, either Saint or Hoso.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That was actually a good one. I liked that a lot. I wish they would have actually had one of them be eliminated afterwards instead of having it be a top 4. But I like them having that as a cliffhanger elimination. I liked.
Yeah, I agree. I have a theory. I think there's a reason they didn't show who got eliminated out of these two. And I think that's because neither of them did.
Yeah.
I think they both are going to be there next week. I think Majesty actually quit. I was kind of getting those vibes the whole episode. I was like, wait, is Majesty quitting? And so when we got that conversation at the end, I'm like, wait, I think Majesty's quitting.
So maybe Majesty is going to quit and they're going to both end up staying?
I think so.
That would not be great for my draft.
It wouldn't be great for your draft, but it wouldn't be great for my draft if either of these two go, because they're both on my team. But, you know, I've noticed we all get kind of connected to the people we draft, which is cute.
True.
But I don't know. Personally, I definitely am not ready for Gray to go. I think Vivi has more in her. For me, I kind of would be okay with Majesty leaving at this point.
Not to mention the fact as well, too, I liked a good amount of what Majesty has been bringing, and so I would like to see more of what.
I think it's running its course.
I do feel like that, to be honest, that Majesty doesn't really have a storyline attached to this show other than, oh, I'm so nervous to be back, kind of a thing. You know what I mean? Like, other than that, like, oh, God.
I don't know. Well, speaking of drafts, we do have a draft update. Things are actually pretty interesting because since we don't know how this resulted, we don't exactly know who gets the 0 points for the day. It could be Gray, it could be Vivi. Either way, that would not affect any draft rankings because I have both of those people. But
Let's hope it's not Majesty, because
if it's Majesty, that could shake up the draft a little bit, because currently we have Brandon, who's always going to be in 6th place because Brandon's team is gone, with 4 points, and then we have Brooke with 17 points, in 5th place. In 4th place is me. I took a drop. I was in 2nd place, so now I have 23 points. If I do lose a person, that drops me down to 22 points. Jack is in 3rd place with 25 points. Logan is in 2nd place with 26.5 points. Eve, you're in 1st place with 29 points. But if Majesty quit, her 3 becomes a 0, which means you have 26 points and you're in 2nd place. So it's a big question mark.
It is a big question mark, but I will say I already know, like, because it's, I mean, just because of how it's been, Angie's carrying my team, which I'm okay with.
Yeah. No, and I felt the same way about Gray. So if Gray leaves, I'm like, oh, I don't think I'm doing very well, because I don't think Vivi's somebody they're featuring to go super far.
I still feel like that I can have a good chance of making it like staying in the top
and winning even,
or possibly winning, even if I lost Majesty.
Mm-hmm.
Just depending on how Auntie does.
Yeah.
Because like she's the bulk of my wins anyway, so I'm like,
it should be interesting. Had you not heard that theory that Majesty might have quit?
No,
because we were talking before we started recording. Everything you were saying made me believe, oh, Eve's not even thinking of that as a possibility. And so I was going to save it. I saved it for the podcast to drop that theory, and I immediately got that when I watched the episode, and I looked on Twitter. A lot of people are thinking it, actually. So I guess we will see.
And with that,
thank you for tuning in and watching us cover this episode, this very interesting episode of Dragula. But yeah, you can once again subscribe, like, share, comment. We love all of those things. And if you want to hear what we had to say about the looks, please tune in to Look Over Here. I called it Look Over There earlier, but that's just my brain always wanting to to say the original phrase. But yeah, and once again, you can get any merch. We have more than just cups on at lonagcreations.etsy.com. And I think that's about it, right?
Yep, that's about it.
Okay. Well, thank you for joining, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Cheers.
Cheers. Now, what's the